Okay, good morning, everybody, or good evening, whenever you're watching. We're back after kind of an abbreviated, somewhat week of a holiday, and kind of working on a test and maybe just some more theory on authentication, authorization, and today's July 10th, and just looking at the class, if we hop on the class on Inside Rankin. Just glance at the syllabus, where we're at and where we're going. We are getting to the point where we are wrapping up with the back end code and we're going to get into some more front end code. In fact, today I will lecture a little bit on our first lecture on React JS, which is considered front end JavaScript or a front end framework. And just popping open the syllabus, kind of see where we're at, where we're headed. We're making good progress. Just kind of glancing quickly, 14 weeks in the class. And so this class goes until August 20th. So we've got a little over a month and 10 days, right about a month and 10 days left of the class. So the fact that we're already kind of wrapping up, I would say, with a lot of our back end code is really good. We're making really good progress. In fact, I wrote a template of, here we were week 7 and 8, kind of working with security and authentication with authorization. So literally we're right on track. Really what that pulls forward is our React. And so here we are week 9, and we're going to get an introduction to React. That gives us some more time. Again, if anything, we're on schedule. If anything, we may be even ahead of schedule a little bit. So class is going well. We're starting week 9 of a 14-week class. On pace, if not ahead a little bit. What I wanted to do a little bit in this video is spend some time cleaning up the back-end code, more specifically cleaning up our database, because as we've refactored and rewritten our issue tracker, it has evolved, it has changed, we've manipulated it, and in its current state, it became obvious to me that the database kind of had some stale data in it, and it no longer really worked with our current, application. And so I wanted to, on Mongo, go in and kind of clear out all the data, kind of reset the data, and then generate all new data and give my users roles and all that kind of fun stuff. That way the data in the database is, no longer what you would call stale. And so that's what this video is going to be. And then again, like I said, we're going to kind of move forward and learn some React this week. And so kind of another starting point, of course, I'm going to get that database data refreshed. But I also wanted to kind of do one more deployment to Gcloud, just to make sure that the back end obviously has all the most up-to-date code. I haven't done a deploy in a week or two, so I know the live version of my application is also not up to date. So I want to kind of get both of those things up to date and ready for the front end that we're going to start learning. Now, Gcloud, I kind of have here is Google Cloud Console. So you're going to want to log into console.cloud.google.com. And just on a glance, I did notice this kind of changed a little bit, at least the front end UI. So let me go ahead and go into my issue tracker and go to the dashboard, and I'm looking for my App Engine dashboard and getting the URL. Now I opened up my database, so that I can access this data from my front end, right? So this is the other thing that I'm going to update. So part one, updating the data in the database. Part two is deploying kind of one more time to Gcloud, so that everything's kind of up to date, if you will. So here's my issue tracker project, and you may want to do this as well. I'm going to browse my collections, and I'm pretty much going to delete all of this. Let me see. I've got some users. I'm not going to delete my roles because those are going to remain the same. And these edits, it doesn't hurt to delete those because those have also changed over time. So I've only got 6 bugs. So what I'll do is I'll create 5 users, create 5 bugs, create some test cases, things of that nature. So let's just get to it. And as normal, going through this, you're probably going to find a bug or two to fix. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Bugs as in, problems with our current state of the code. So let's just go ahead and delete all the users. Okay, so at this point I've deleted my users, I've deleted my bugs. Let's go ahead and go into Postman issue tracker. Okay, where am I? Bug tracker. Users. Okay. Now, users by default don't have roles, and so I may have to manually make an admin. So I'll just make myself first. And follow, put whatever data in your database that you deem fit. This is just going to be my implementation. Now I'm going to look at my route and make sure there's nothing else required here. So if I pull over my code and I go to my register user, I have a new user schema, email, password, given family. So that's what is required. And so let's go ahead and create, let me boot it up, and this says port 5003. So let's go ahead and get that up and running so that now that our backend is running, we can register a user. So I'll go ahead and just create, like I said, I want to create 5 users. Okay, there's 3. Four. And 5. So if I go to list all users, right away we do not have permissions can view data. Now, therein lies the rub. We in its current state do not have a way to make a user have the admin role by default. So you essentially need to manually assign role, at least one role, to a user. Otherwise, yeah, there's no way to do it through Postman right now. So there's our users. They have object IDs, email, password given full. All their roles are null. And keep in mind, our roles can either be strings or they can be arrays. And so I'll just go ahead and in my role just say, okay, developer. Let's go ahead and make Evan a string of developer. Okay, so now Evan is a developer. EA Gudmested at rankin.edu. So if I go to log in a user, and I go password, okay, Evan Gudmested is logged in. And now if Evan goes to list users, Evan can get the users because he has the permission that is required. So had to manually do that. You can refactor that, I think given that challenge, given that task of, assigning a role by default, I think you could do that if you wanted to, implement that change so you didn't have to manually give a role. You could do that. At the end of the day, this will be your project, and I have requirements of learning as we go, but at the end of the day, you can make it whatever you want, especially for the final project, the final implementation of this. So here it says admin update user by ID. You'll notice here, I was tinkering around with this the other day. You provide a user ID. This is a put route, and I can give a user multiple roles of developer and quality analyst. Now, again, if I go to list all users and I pull my user ID, now if I update this user right here, which is me, and the role is developer and quality analyst. Let's see what happens now that I already have a role. Now, actually, before I do this, let's just do this. I just want to do this without a user besides myself, right? So I already have a role of developer. Let's go Doug Gegelman, right? So let's update Doug Gegelman to have developer and quality analyst. And I don't have permission to edit any user. Let's back that up. So Evan is logged in, right? And Evan is a developer. I have to go back to my chart and see what permissions developers have. Let me go here, and I go roles and developers. Developers cannot edit any user. Can edit my bug, can edit, see right here, developers don't have that permission. So which one does? Might be, can't edit, okay, technical manager. So in order to edit any user, we decided you have to be technical manager. So let me go back into my user, edit, make this an array, and sub0 is developer, and sub1 is technical manager, I believe. Okay, so developer and technical manager, let me just double check that one more time. Technical space manager has the permissions of can edit any user. Let me go ahead and log back in with Evan. So now I'm logged back in with Evan, and now I should be a technical manager. Now if I go to run this, I updated my user, which was Doug Gegelman. If I go back to list all users, you can see Doug Gegelman has two roles of developer and quality analyst, which is what I was going for. Cool, cool. So Evan and Doug have roles, no one else has roles. Just wanted to get that out there. Now if I were to go back to my front end, you know, you're going to see that my live get my user list is currently working now. Let me clear out my auth token. Bugs are empty. Of course, that user one's not there. I wouldn't expect no cookies. I would expect actually a different message here, being that I'm not logged in on my front end. You know, here it is working on Postman, all my permissions, but my permissions are not working on my live implementation. So maybe something to figure out there as we continue to implement the front end. Obviously, this front end is not the front end that we're going to finish with. We're going to finish with React. So we're going to get all that playing nice together. So that's not something I'm concerned about totally at this point. Let's go ahead and create some bugs. Now that we at least have some new users, we'll create some bugs. We'll just go ahead and log in my Evan because we know he has some permissions to do some things. And let's create a new bug. And I'll say app is running slow from 9 to noon. Why? But it just seems to slow down. Okay, and so let's register a new bug. Okay, bug ID. This is an actual bug that's going on right now for us. When using right, so list all users should be locked down. Steps to reproduce, use the app in the browser and click the list all users. Okay, there's our second bug. And I know I said 5 bugs, but we'll just go 3. Okay, there's my bugs. Okay, you can see when I create a bug, 1, 2, 3, it is automatically assigned to me, and I am also the bug author. It is unclassified by default. So there's a lot going on there. If I kind of go back to my edits, we should be able to see some edits going on from today. I would assume some edits going on from today. 6/26. Oh, next. I got all these. There we go. There we go. I just had to click next to see the records from today. So we got edits. You don't have to delete those. Those are just record keeping. We got 36 edits, so that's cool. Back to my front end. If I click bugs, there's my 3 bugs. And maybe we can classify a bug. So I'm going to go here, give it a bug ID, and classification of performance. Let's see, what are the different ones? Approved, we'll go approved. Classification is an approved. Bug classified, list all bugs. Okay, classification approved. So let's add a comment to this bug. New bug comment. And let's log in as a different user. So I'm going to say dggleman@rankin.edu. Okay, Doug is logged in. New bug comment. And so if I grab this bug ID, paste it, and Doug is going to add a comment. Okay, so this one was the one about speed, and Doug is just going to say, yep, there's a speed issue. So new comment added. If I list all the bugs, we can see Doug Gegelman added a user comment on today. And then let's just even do one more. I can confirm the app is running slowly during these hours. Please fix this. I'm getting annoyed. Send. New comment added. List all bugs. And there we can see our array of user comments looking good. And finally, let's add a test case. So Doug is logged in. Probably, again, going back to the permissions, I'm going to log myself back in. Okay. So a new bug test case. We need a bug ID. So let's go to my next bug. Front end, not implementing authorization. So let's copy that bug ID into right here. Okay, and we're going to call this React auth test case v1 passed is false. Okay, can add test case. So again, permissions thing. Who has permissions to add a test case? Back to here. Let's go to my roles. Can add test case. Looks like quality analyst. So let's go users, Evan. Okay, let's log Evan back in so we can refresh his credentials. And add the test case. New test case added. React auth test case. Back to listing all the bugs. And got a bug author. Okay, there's my test case, there's my test case ID. Of course, if I get a bug test case, I should be able to throw in the test ID with the bug ID and get that to return, but not too worried about that. Okay, this is the idea, you know, that I just wanted to have everyone get to this point. And at the end of the day, you know, the old saying is that good data in, good data out, bad data in, bad data out. And so if you're wanting to use this issue tracker as a demonstration of work, you want good data in so that it looks good to potential employers when you're interviewing. It looks like realistic data. And so, you know, I'm doing an example of how you would do that, of getting realistic looking data into the database. You know, and if I'm in your shoes, I'm probably elaborating on that a little bit more, you know, getting a few more bugs, a few more test cases, getting your users to all have roles, various roles, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, but this is where I'm going to at least stop for now on my data going into my database, and go into the next part of this video, which is just redeployment. Okay, now that Grant kind of is ready to roll with me, the next thing I wanted to do is kind of redeploy the app in its current state, the backend code, to Gcloud. Now, the command to do that, we've done that a couple times, should be an easy command. But I noticed something the other day that I was like, I wonder how hard that would be to fix. So I've got my front end pulled up. You're going to notice here is on localhost in this tab. And somewhere along the way, we went ahead and made a drop-down list to add a new user. And this is just a bootstrap form where we can click, 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 click. And notice, please select a role. So I'm like, oh, we got to take that out now that the roles are null by default. Again, you could change that if you wish. So I'm going to take that drop down off and make that change, and then, you know, just to make sure that the redeployment works. But then also what I noticed is that on the live site, if I go to my drop down, it doesn't drop down at all. In fact, it just goes to the link to list all users. So on my local, the drop down is working, but on the live, the drop down is not. Okay, typical thing, it works on my machine. Is the typical developer excuse. Well, we're not doing that. We're going to get it to work on both my machine and in the production. And so noticed when I go to inspect, you go to console, it tells you why it's not working. It's not working because it's not loading the JavaScript, the Bootstrap JavaScript. Of course, this is a Bootstrap feature that requires the JavaScript library to be the Bootstrap JavaScript library to be properly loaded. And it says, "Hey, I'm not loading your script because it violates our content security policy." And so of course I use my friend ChatGPT. I'm sure you guys are familiar, and I copy and paste. I say I get this error message on my web page, and it gives a very detailed explanation. Hey, this is a security mechanism that helps protect websites from cross-site scripting attacks. So it's like, hey, you're gonna basically open up a window for attack here if you allow yourself to use a CDN, because that's what we're doing here. We're using a CDN. That's a very common practice. I'm willing to accept that risk. It just makes sure you know that we're kind of opening a window for an attacker to come through the window. If you do this, and it's like, here to resolve this issue, here's a few options. Update your security policy. They give you this meta tag, right? So they give you a little HTML meta tag, and I'm just gonna try this out. I'm gonna copy this out, and I'm gonna paste it up in the HTML head where meta tags belong. I'm just gonna paste this in, and if you wanna type that out, I'll go ahead and pause the recording so Grant can type it out, if you're going to follow along. Just resumed here. At the end of the day, by the way, this is not critical because we're going to scrap this front end anyways, right? We're going to replace this with something else. So, we're just fixing this little bug, but it's not the important piece of what we're doing today. And then the third bug, if you will, that I realized as I just kind of scroll down. So I'm just looking at my linter, right? And it says you can't have an li inside of a div. And semantically, HTML, that's correct. It should be inside of an unordered list. But Bootstrap, the Bootstrap docs basically say that, yeah, you can have a nav bar that's not inside of a UL. And so anyways, I'm not too worried about that one, but as I scroll down, I basically have an extra div tag. Grant, I don't know if you or anyone following at home has it, but I'm gonna remove that div tag because I just kind of traced it all, right? If I look at that div tag, it closes right here on line 11, which is right before the opening body tag. So I basically, somewhere along the way, introduced an extra div tag, and then that kind of cleans up those red squigglies underneath. Okay, so I'm going to make those changes, and I'm going to Control C my terminal, stop it from running, clear the screen, Gcloud app deploy my changes. And it might not be recognized. I might need to open up a so I've been doing Gcloud deployment on my laptop. I'm on my desktop. So let me see if Gcloud is recognized in my command prompt. Gcloud, not recognized. Let me try a new, so this is, these are PowerShell windows. Let me see if I open up a git bash terminal. Gcloud, not found. I don't even know if I might need to download all of the there's command prompts. We already tried that. So we tried PowerShell, we tried the git bash and the command prompts. I might need to download my SDK, Gcloud SDK on this computer. So Gcloud SDK. Because I don't think I've done this here on this computer. In fact, if I go to my downloads, just scrolling through, and this takes a while, so of course I'm not gonna do it on Yours worked, I'm assuming, Grant.
Yes, mine did.
Yeah. Okay. This is going to take a minute on my desktop. So I'll pause. Okay. Took a little bit of time. Let's click next. Let's see. This Gcloud init configuration. Let's make sure that we can get this up and running. You want to log in? Yes. And log in with my personal Gmail. Okay. Pick a cloud project to use. Now I think mine is number 2, Tribal Flux. But let's just double check. So here, 38 and starts with 38, ends with 14. Starts with 38, ends with 14. That's number 2. Do you want to configure a default compute region and zone? Sure. Central. Looks like number 7 is the first US Central. So we'll say 7. There we go. Okay, your project. Yep. Created that. Yep. Okay. So now, just to take a look, it looks like this is my path to get to my Cloud SDK. If I go back to my terminal, I'm going to need to start a new terminal. So I'm going to kill the terminal, start a new terminal. Let's see if Gcloud is now recognized. Gcloud app deploy. It's not recognized in the terminal. So again, this is a pathing issue. I think I fixed this in a prior video. Let's go command prompt. If I type in path, Gcloud, not recognized in my command prompt. If I go Gcloud, not recognized here. I'm temporarily just going to kill these terminals. And I remember fixing this problem before. So let me change directory to my Google Cloud SDK. And look, I'm looking for the Gcloud executable. Okay, so this is the folder that has, notice if I run Gcloud here, it's a recognized command. It's like, hey, you need to give me some more information. And so it's recognized. This command is here. So this is the directory that's in. Now if I go up a directory, right, and I hit Gcloud, okay, it's recognized here too. That's good. If I go up a directory here, Gcloud. Okay, so maybe it is part of my path now. Let me go ahead and I'm going to copy this path so I don't lose it. Close the window. Close the window. Let me open up a new command prompt. Just type in Gcloud from here. Okay, it is recognized. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. And So I might just need to close my Visual Studio and reboot it up. Issue tracker. I just want to make sure that I don't have anything to pull. Pretty sure I don't. Okay, up to date, that's good. Let's open this back up in code. Let's get a new terminal window. Okay, now it's a recognize command. Okay, that's what I wanted. And so let's Gcloud app deploy. And do you want to continue? I'm going to say yes. Pause. Okay, deployed to that URL. Let's control click it, open it. And let's see. Didn't expect that. Let me pause and troubleshoot. So going back to the dashboard to troubleshoot this. Let's back up here, Google Cloud, dashboard. Okay. So here's 2 errors on the root. Okay, so going back, here's application errors. Secret is required, auth.js. So that's what we need to troubleshoot. Obviously, this is coming for Merlin auth, where it's saying the secret is required. I thought we provided the secret. Let's look. Okay, so again, what we had issues with this config package before and getting it to play nice on. We say, okay, this is the development environment, and so in development, this secret is empty right here. But I would assume basically this custom environment variables auth.secret points at the .env auth secret. So I thought it was going to kind of flow through into our .env and get the auth secret right here. it didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this entire thing. Starting here, I'm going to hold down Shift and the End key, copy that. Now if I just paste that in to, see this config package, we're in production here and everything's empty in production, so that's kind of something else. So if I paste that, see, you get all sorts of problems because of these special characters and whatnot. And so I would expect that not to work. And so since this is not really real production data, you know, this is just for learning, we really don't have any super scenes. I'm just going to say my secret key. And I'm just going to change this to something simpler. And then my .env, I'm going to change that as well, so that and I'm going to boot this up locally. See that boots. And let's just log in my user. Okay. And let's list all my users. Okay. Now the only thing that I'm thinking in my head is that, okay, here my secret keys in quotes, but then in .env my secret keys not in quotes. But let's go ahead and close that and try. Gcloud app deploy. Yeah, just glancing at it last time, that's what we did. We just put the URL right there inside of default JSON. So maybe that fixed it. Let's take a look, open it up. Beautiful. Okay. And now, before I go too far, let's go to console. Does look like I'm still getting my, okay. All right, well, at least we're getting error, you are not logged in. Oh, that's why I wasn't doing our middleware, because we didn't have it up and deployed. Duh. So we did redeploy. Let me look at elements. Now here's kind of, so everything's good. If I go into head, there's our new meta tag. Notice, I did notice one thing, is that URL wasn't complete. And so if I go back to my index, again, this is not the important piece of what we were doing today. We're done with that, but notice this full URL to the CDN to the JavaScript file. What I wonder is if that full URL needs to go here as such. If this doesn't work, it's okay. Again, we're rebuilding our front end, so just trying it because I'm curious, and then we'll be done. Grant, did that fix yours?
I'm right with you. I'm checking now. I'm uploading.
Oh, but as far as the getting the
Oh, yes, yes.
okay,
I was able to switch the routes, just
right on,
not logged in.
right on. Yeah, I gotta play with this config package a little more and get all these settings right, because right now, a little off. Okay, again, whether this is working or not, it's not something that we're gonna get caught up on, but inspect, console, nope, still doesn't like it. Yeah, ChatGPT gave me a good idea of what's going on, but its fix didn't fix. This change allows scripts from the self origin and the specified CDN URL. Of course, we could download and link locally. That's the other easy solution. Just download Bootstrap. But okay, I'm gonna stop this video here, and then we're gonna get into some React.